Hey guys, hope you're all having a great day. So as requested, here is an update to the 2022 winter sowing containers that I did. I did 6 containers in all, and we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I originally started these in January when it was very cold outside. In fact, I think the night that I put them outside, it got into the negatives. And I will link that video down below if you want to go back and watch that just to see what that process is like. But this is my second year of doing it. It's actually been pretty successful both years, I must say. And the one thing I just want to add is I have been at college this past year. So I did it in January when I was home for winter break, and I hadn't really had a chance to check on them much until now. Thankfully, my dad has been helpful in watering these, but has gone maybe a couple times when they should have been watered, and also a couple times when they probably should have been opened up when it got really hot outside. We saw some really hot temperatures last week, like in the 80s here, which is pretty hot for here in May. But I do have some interesting stuff to show you, and I definitely am excited to plant these, and I'm going to show you guys where I'm planting these today as well. So first thing I wanted to talk about was, let's talk about the good stuff, because I think that's the most important. Probably the best looking out of all of them are the Oriental poppies. I'll bring these closer so you can see. These are the Oriental poppies. I actually did these last year as well, and I will show you. I will insert a clip right here of what those poppies look like. They're actually about to open right now. I haven't seen these bloom yet because they take an entire year, so like I'll plant these today and they won't bloom this year, they'll just grow. But the ones that I planted last year are just about to grow, so I'm very excited about these. But these have done really well for the second year in a row. There's probably anywhere from like maybe 10 to 20 plants in here. So I'm going to make a drift of these in the back bed in our backyard, and it'll help make things a little more cohesive from our front yard to our backyard. So these are doing pretty well. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about is this lady lavender. So I originally planted this because we were going to grow a hedge of lavender. We ultimately decided we're actually just going to buy lavender plants that are already grown on and a good size, just to speed the process along a little bit, and just in case for whatever reason these don't make it. But you can see just how gorgeous these are. They're actually growing really well. Again, maybe another like 10 to 20 plants in this pot. They're doing really well. They smell good too, which is awesome. So we'll probably just make, I have an idea for where I want to plant this lavender, but this is a smaller variety of lavender. So I think it only gets like 18 to 24 inches tall and wide. So it's on the smaller side of lavender, not like an English lavender or anything like that. So these are nice. And those are the 2 plants that have done pretty well. The other ones besides those is, this is called Swiss chard burpees rhubarb. Oops. So pretty well. I mean, the leaves look a little like fried, I guess, but once these go in the ground, these will go pretty well. I might put these in the garden. I might just put them in a pot, actually, in a larger pot, or even just in the ground. I haven't really decided what I want to do with these yet, but there's probably 6 or 7 plants in here, so there's something. And then the last thing that doesn't look that bad are the sweet pea high scent. So this variety of sweet pea, I have 2 types. This one's doing all right. There's not many plants. There's like one, although actually if I look at it, I think this is all kind of one plant, and then there's this other one here. So I have a trellis that I'm going to plant these on. They don't look great, but once I put them in the ground, they're going to do fine, and hopefully these will bloom. But I wanted to talk about something specific with this, and then here's the other sweet peas, and there's nothing here. There's a reason for this, and there's a step that I completely forgot about with these peas that is why I'm not as successful with these this year, and I'll definitely do this next year. I got a YouTube comment shortly after doing this, and somebody mentioned about scratching the seeds to help them sprout. I never ended up doing that. I just completely forgot about it, and I didn't even realize to do that when I first planted these. So if you ever plant sweet peas, I would say maybe look online or see if there's any other like tutorials on how to do that. I haven't personally watched anything myself, so I don't want to give any advice on that. But that's the reason why these didn't germinate, and why the other ones maybe only germinated a few of them. I'm actually lucky to only get a few of them. So we'll see how those do the rest of this year. But I think it wasn't necessarily the process of winter sowing. Could have also been from drying out. I think it was more so the reason that I didn't, or the reason that I didn't scratch these seeds first, because they're very hard seeds, if you've ever seen sweet peas. And then the last thing, which looks like it's a goner, but I actually don't think it is. These are the California poppy, I think it's like Aurantiaca orange or something like that. They're an orange type of California poppy. It looks dead. However, there is one plant, and I will point it out right here, this plant right here. There's still a little bit of life in this. It looks okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this entire thing, I'm not even going to touch the root system on this, I'm going to plant it somewhere, and I'll see if there's any other plants that are maybe still alive, and then at least those will have a chance to grow back since I'm not ripping the whole thing apart. And then also it'll give the best chance for this to live since I'm not disturbing it as much. I'll just stick the whole thing in the ground, water it, and we'll see. I have no idea what's going to happen with this, but even if I get this one plant to grow, I'll be happy. So with all that being said, those are all the plants that I started this year. I didn't start anything else. I'm going to save these containers for next year because they're really great to use. Even though a lot of the tops of them have fallen off, you can easily just tape them back on. That kind of happens after a couple of years. So I'll save those, and now we will cut to planting these. Alright, so everything is planted, and I just wanted to show you all where I planted everything and just kind of what my thought process was as I was planting. So the first thing is this Swiss chard. I just put it in a pot temporarily. I think we're going to end up putting all this in the garden, but it just needed to be in a larger container, especially so it doesn't dry out as fast. It's kind of weird that it's all on one side, but that's fine. It really doesn't matter because it's not going to stay in this pot forever. Alright, next we have the lavender. So I'm standing at the front of our shed right here, and this is what it looks like with the doors open if you haven't seen that before. We can't really plant much around those doors, but we had an idea to plant some lavender on either side, and hopefully it'll stay on the smaller side, so it won't be in the way of the doors. This lavender only gets 16 inches tall, so it's not that big of a deal. I have a clump of it here, so there's probably like, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 plants that are right there. And then I have another clump right here. I also found out that this actually blooms the first year, so I'm excited to see if that actually happens. Last thing, on the other side over here, I planted one more back over here. However, this doesn't get a ton of sun, so I'm not sure how well this is going to do, but we'll see. From the shed over here, walking this way, here's where I planted all of those poppies. So we ended up with, I believe, 11 in total. I just made like a small drift of them. I didn't want to make it too like structured, but just have a drift of these. And these will end up filling up this entire space. And I'll show you another plant that did that last year. So I have poppies here. I'm going to walk over this way. We're still in the middle of mulching, by the way. I just mulched around each plant, so that way that's already taken care of, and it also will hold moisture better. We have the high scent peas here, and they're on this trellis. So, I mean, the trellis is probably only maybe 3 or 4 feet tall. I'm sure they'll end up taking over this entire trellis, but it's just enough for those few little plants there. Moving over to the right, we have little baby plants. I took the rest of the lavender. I took the 7 or 8 individual plants that were left, and I just planted them all individually. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm really not sure if these are going to grow or not, but I decided, you know what, let's just plant them here. And then this, I already planted before. That's a Sun Credible Saturn. It's a flowering sunflower from Proven Winners. That's kind of a different story. But anyways, I have that over there. And then if you keep walking this way, here I have the lonely California poppy, but obviously you know that I planted the entire thing around here, so we'll see if any more pop up. But I at least have this for now. It's got mulch around it. It's been watered, so we'll see. And I just wanted to take a second and show how beautiful these are. These are all purple. These are all purple coneflowers. These I started from seed last year, and I'll link the video down below of me planting these so you can see what it looked like when I planted them versus what they look like now, because they look amazing. And there's already a bud on it, which I'm kind of surprised by because it's only the middle of May. I thought these were supposed to be more of a summer blooming plant, but they're absolutely gorgeous. So there's a whole drift of them right there. All right, I think that was everything. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something for whatever reason. But yeah, so that was the winter sowing for this year. I apologize that it's taken this long to plant everything, but they're finally in the ground. Wasn't as successful this year with getting stuff growing, but that was on my part. And just a lack of like watering, and I mean obviously I haven't been here, so it's kind of hard to garden when you're not in the space that you are gardening in, but we're making it work as much as we can. That's the biggest thing. So anyways, besides that, I hope you guys like this video. I'm definitely going to do some more winter sowing next year, but I think I want to try some new stuff next year. We'll see. I want to try more of those California poppies, but yeah, besides that, I will see you guys in the next video.